Welcome back to Yogaxpress, your virtual stretch clinic that helps you move the body to still the mind. My name is Banu Suresh, and I'm your host for this program. And today we have, back for more of Douglas's teaching, we have Josiane Heard, and of course I'm right here with you, Douglas, so I cannot miss this episode for anything. And we have Talisa Michela. Talisa, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for allowing me to be here.
We love having you here, so welcome back. We're going to give Douglas maximum time today because I think you're not going to be available after this episode, after today's episode, for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to take as much advantage of your presence here as possible. Josiane, thank you for coming back. We really appreciate it.
I love to come here.
You love to be here, and we love having you here.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Douglas is a yoga teacher. He teaches at Ishta Yoga Center, and let me make sure I get the spelling right. ISHTA, Ishta Yoga. You can also go to their website, ishtayoga.com and yogaworks.com. He teaches at two different schools at the moment. Douglas also has appeared on a DVD, Yoga Zone DVD, that has been filmed in Jamaica. And Douglas's main aim, his emphasis, whether it's on the DVD or in real life, is to make yoga accessible to everyone. And that's what our program is all about. I think that's why we're such a good fit, because when you come here, you embody everything we want to convey to the people. So it's wonderful having you back. Douglas is also co-founder, co-conceiver, co-founder of the Times Square Alliance, the summer solstice at Times Square. Every year on the longest day in summer. Actually, I'm going to let you tell our viewers, Douglas, what should we do to be there with you?
Around the end of March, maybe the beginning of April, go online to yoga in Times Square, and you'll find out how to register and prepare for that event, which is now about 9 or 10 years old.
Right.
Tim Tompkins and I started it about 9 or 10 years ago. He was one of my private clients, and he came up with the idea of what would happen if we took yoga to the center of the busiest place in the world.
It's amazing, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, if you can find peace there, then
you can find it
anywhere.
Right.
And it was just coming out, doing that series for Yoga Zone, where we were on a beach and everything was all pristine, and the clouds and the ocean just sort of easefully lapping.
That was with Tim?
That was with Yoga Zone DVD.
With Yoga Zone,
so
okay.
It's hard not to find peace in that
Right,
setting.
right.
Come back to New York, and it's a different world. So it was interesting to put the two experiences back to back in my mind. One very easily to find peace, the other a little bit more of a challenge, but almost as rewarding.
But just being in your class, listening to your instructions out there, and like I said before in previous episodes, I've been there 2 years in a row. Just listening to you, I think we all realize that wherever we go, we are looking for that peace inside of us.
Yeah.
So whether you're in Jamaica or in Times Square, you help us find that peace. So
Absolutely.
don't miss it.
Absolutely.
June 21st. But you can hear more about it online. End of March, did you say that?
Well, that's when we will begin to start receiving registrations for the event.
They need to register, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Please
But
register.
if you want to stay in touch with Douglas Stewart, Douglass, and the last name Stewart, Stewart. Google him. Google him. He's all over the place, and you would love it. I love coming to you. I have to say I've been guilty of not attending classes for a while.
Well, you've been putting together this
We've been
marvelous
putting this
program.
together, so we will love having you here. So I'm so glad you made time to be with us, Douglas.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Anywhere else that you're teaching? Oh, you also, and you said that's open to everybody, right? You're also
Yes.
teaching at the Lesbian, Gay, Transgender Community Center?
Yes, I volunteer a class there. I have been for about 10 years or so, primarily open initially for the HIV positive community,
Right.
but now everyone is welcome.
It's open now to
Yes.
everybody.
Mhm.
And you know what? I'm going to let you say in your own words, how did you describe yoga? I love that. I want to hear it in your voice. You have such a soothing voice. You got to say it. I mean, I'm too animated about that.
Well, I feel like when we're practicing yoga, that it's just twisting and turning and bending and stretching and breathing and navigating and
Meandering. I love that.
to this stillness, to this place of inner peace.
Yeah, the stillness within us.
Exactly.
So we are all yours. Help us find that
Well,
stillness
you know what?
today.
I thought that we continue our theme from yesterday by coming into this modification of Dandasana with your 10 toes against the ground and your...
That's a bit hard. All 10 toes?
All 10 toes, right? And your hands are against your knees so that you have the ability now to just navigate onto both of your two sit bones.
Okay, to sit on a brick? Sorry.
You can...
no, maybe not.
Not for now. Let's
yet.
just see if you can find it, because we're coming right to Dandasana, and if you're needing that block for later. But
okay.
For now, we're just interested in noticing the tendency for the legs to sort of flop open and the spine to collapse a little bit, but realize that as you draw towards this posture, you're actually inviting the adductors and the abductors to come to balance. And all 10 toes will help to ensure that. Your hands resting lightly on your knees. Now, with the legs and the pelvis situated, you are more likely to be able to find some length or space actually through the spine. This is an interesting puzzle to play. How can you be here in the integrity of this setup and still breathe?
It's like going to a dentist, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All the stuff in your mouth and then...
How can you breathe and swallow and tell him don't do that anymore?
Right.
Send both of your legs forward. We're in Dandasana. Sitting staff, where your hands are just along the sides of your pelvis. It's that same intention, everyone, of bringing the bones to their most symmetrical relationship with one another and finding space. Finding space through the joints. Let your breath move. How much room can you make between your shoulders and your jaw? How much room can you make between your pelvis and your ribs? Great. Bring your left foot over your right knee. Feel all 5 of your left toes against the ground and wrap your right elbow around your left knee. Clear your navel as both of your sit bones reach down and your head draws up, and now begin to wrap round to your left, twisting. Beautiful. Now the tendency is to collapse. But first feel the roots of the posture, both of your sit bones rooting, and then play the extension upward from that sense of ground, your head touching the ceiling. And as you draw the right hip back slightly more and extend the inner right heel forward slightly more at the same time, the left shoulder is free to continue to wrap around, and you'll discover that you're looking to the wall behind. Breathe into this constriction that we've made. See if you can make space. And then release the pose. Extend your left heel forward. Bring your right foot over your left knee so that all 5 toes of your right foot are against the ground, and wrap your left elbow around your right knee. Clear your navel. Send both of your sit bones down into the ground and let your head extend upward as your right hand reaches behind. There you go. Now draw the left hip back slightly more and play the inner left heel slightly more forward, and you'll feel how the right shoulder wants to wrap round as your head or gaze finds its way to the wall behind. These twists are wonderful for integrating the right and left side of your body. Release the pose. Cross your left ankle just above your right knee. You'll feel a stretch here in the left hip joint, just a little bit. You may want to stay here. Anybody with knee issues or ankle issues or hip issues, this might be enough for you. The right toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Those of you, and it's like Dandasana as you're holding the pose. The left leg is very passive. Stay here if you're needing to, Or you can bend the right knee so that there's a deeper stretch in the left hip joint. All 5 toes of the right foot are on the ground. Here, I usually have to lift up a little bit and then adjust the sit bones down again. So you might have to do that too. Stay here if you'd like. Those of you that are minding hip issues or knee issues or ankle issues, those of you that want to play the more developed expression, you can wrap your elbows around your foot and your knee as we've come into cradle. And Banu and I were discussing earlier before we started airing that this is probably a preparation for Padmasana or Yoga Nidrasana. You can even extend your heel forward. Let your breath move.
That's right. Yoga Nidrasana is the one with your feet behind your neck.
Oh, yes. You want to go for it?
No.
No, I'm not either. No. In the next episode,
Oh,
you'll have to come
my
back.
next life. My next lifetime. I don't think I
Release.
could get there.
Bring your right ankle on top of just above the left knee. Right knee softens open. Play Dandasana. Stay here if you're needing to, anybody, or develop. Bringing the left foot onto the mat, 5 toes of the left foot. Lift up a little bit so that you can readjust your pelvis comfortably on the ground. Stay here if you'd like, or cradle. There you go. Great. Beautiful. Yes,
She really has a cradle.
that rocking is great because you notice that as you go more towards the center line of your body, there's a greater stretch on the outer buttocks.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And as you go
don't
to
have that muscle
away
thing.
from the center line of your
right.
body, there's a greater stretch on the inner hip joint. So,
The abductor and adductor. Yeah, we forget to retrain our muscles, right? That's what we're doing.
extend. Both heels forward. Now, here's something that's interesting. As your hands come right underneath your shoulders and as your heels press into the mat, see if it's possible, everyone, for you to let your knees travel forward right over your heels while the pelvis and the thigh bones come into the same plane with one another, and we're in table pose. Beautiful.
If anyone has gravity issues.
Gravity issues, I don't know what to do. We have to go to the moon where
That's
there is
right.
no gravity.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I said that in one of the previous episodes. Wouldn't
Yes,
it be
ma'am.
amazing to practice yoga? Because yoga depends on gravity, but if you do it on the moon, there's no gravity.
There is no gravity.
You can get into any posture.
Yeah.
Try it in the
Even on
bathtub
your
with
head.
warm water. It's much easier when you do it in water.
Really?
Have you tried if you find one side less flexible than the other?
Oh, to do
We
it.
do it in water?
Must have a huge bathtub.
No. No, just I was trying Padmasana.
If you're on an aircraft that goes very fast down, you have about a few short period of time. I don't know if it's 1 minute or 2 minutes that you're floating in the air as you weigh out of gravity.
Where is that?
Yeah?
If you're in an aircraft, but it's a special
Oh,
aircraft,
uh-huh.
they do that for the astronauts as an experiment.
Oh.
From very
That's the
high
time when they
altitude,
get their
go
feet
down very
behind their neck.
fast. That short period of time that you have, that you're floating in the air for
Yeah.
1 or 2 minutes, I don't know, it's a very short period of time.
Wow.
To learn how to behave, how to move out of gravity.
Without gravity. Well, there you go. We need
It's
to get in
amazing.
that aircraft. Sorry.
They did that
Doug.
as an experiment for.
Wow.
See, you made us think. Our
Now
mind
we
is
are-
starting working
we
all the
are-
time.
Come into this easy seat, Sukhasana, and take your left hand onto your right thigh bone or to your right knee. And notice that your left shoulder is aimed over the left thigh bone. We'll take a lateral twist as your right hand reaches up. And now, let your left shoulder draw right over your left thigh bone. There you go. That's it. And bring your chin toward your raised armpit. Let your breath move. That's it. Feel your breath. Come upright. We'll take the other side. where your right hand comes onto your left thigh or knee, and your left hand draws up, and now your right shoulder reaches over the right thigh bone or right knee. Bring your chin toward your raised armpit. There you go. Beautiful. Make sure that both sit bones are rooted. Come upright. And now, everyone, tilting your pelvis forward, let your navel hover just over your heels as you walk your hands forward, stretching through the hip joints. Eventually, your forehead resting on your block or on your mat.
I'm glad you said the word eventually. It's not going to happen today.
If you have a prop at home and you're wanting to play this pose with a block, this is fine.
It's a good idea.
Come upright. And then let's take the other side with the other foot forward. Tilt your pelvis. Walk your hands forward, keeping length in the torso as your forehead comes to rest on your mat or on your block. Notice the movement of your breathing. Just feel the movement of your breath. Wonderful. And then come upright. Great. And that's where we'll end our little session of series.
We have more time.
You have more time? You want to do some more?
Keep
You want some
going,
more? All right, send your legs forward.
I love it. We're not letting you go.
Send your legs forward. And now loop your middle fingers and forefingers and thumbs around your big toes. But send your heart forward and up. And let your shoulder blades relax down your back. And now, as you tilt your pelvis forward, bring your belly over your thigh bones and extend your head forward. That's it. As we come into Paschimottanasana. Eventually, you can bring your hands to the outside of your feet. Or if you want a deeper stretch, you can use your block under the soles of your feet to reach to the edges of your block as your forehead comes toward your shin bones. Stay here, everyone, but take a full breath in. And when you're breathing out, see if you can fall deeper into or extend deeper into the posture. That's it. Come upright. Bring your hands behind again. And then sending your toes forward, I'll move that block, lift your pelvis up away from the ground. If you want to play table pose again, you can by bending your knees. Pelvis draws right up. There you go. And now ease down to sitting. And fold forward over your legs again.
Give us a time cue, did it?
No.
So we have
That's
to.
it. You want to be able to feel your breath. Come upright, everyone. Now, cross your shin bones into an X. Reach to the edges of your feet with your hands. And as your right foot reaches to the left wall, and as your left foot reaches to the right wall, you'll notice that your thigh bones and your torso have come towards one another.
I love this position.
First, I wasn't sure which way my
Where
hands
are
would
we
go.
going?
No,
What's going on?
it involves balance too, right?
We're completely balanced.
Yeah.
And opening the hip joints. On the in-breath, send your heels up. and loop your middle fingers and forefingers and thumbs around your big toes.
I'm not so sure I'm gonna get there.
Or if you need to bend your
Yeah,
knees,
I think
anybody,
I
that's
might.
fine.
Yeah.
I want to look like Talisa. Doesn't she look amazing?
Amazing. Bend your knees, cross your shin bones, and bring your legs down. That's
I'm trying to do it too fast. I lose my balance.
it.
How are we doing for time, Jabari? Are we good? Okay.
Taking a twist.
We keep going? Okay, we're doing good. Okay.
You can take a twist to the right. Let your body breathe.
Josiane, your right twists do feel amazing.
And then release the twist, bringing your right hand to the center line of your body, and let your left hand come behind. The sit bones drop down into the ground, your head draws up, and through that length, you're able to rotate to the left deeper. Beautiful. Release the pose. Are you able to thread forward onto hands and knees? If not, then swing your legs around and come onto hands and knees. With your pelvis right over your knees and your hands on your buttocks, you may even want to use your block or two of your blocks, one under each hand, so that you've got your block on the calf, so that you're supported that way. Anybody wanting to play with two blocks, you can use a block on your calves so that your hands are pressing down into the blocks, or you can bring your hands onto your buttocks with your fingers pointing upward as we prepare for Ustrasana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, like this. Okay.
Either this way or on your blocks. I'll play this way so that the people at home can see the modification. I'll go this way.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I'll show it here so that they can see. So by letting the tailbone relax downward and the heart to draw upward away from the tailbone and keeping your pelvis right over your knees, you'll notice how your heart just draws right up towards the ceiling and your shoulder blades hug close to your back. Your head extending to touch the wall behind so that your neck muscles are engaged rather than collapsed and you're able to breathe. You want to make sure that your pelvis is right over your knees. Ustrasana, camel pose. That's it. Yes, and if you can reach to your heels with your fingers, that's fine. Maybe the tops of your feet have come down on the ground and the heart draws right up. Take a full breath in. And as you're breathing out, come upright. And then ease down to sitting onto your heels and let your fingers reach forward. So he gave us 5 minutes already.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just about 2 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. So got 3 minutes.
And now round up to sitting, everyone. Just rounding up to
This
sitting,
is so comfortable.
articulating each of the vertebrae in the spine, and then let's be comfortable as we talk about what we're feeling
The
now.
child pose is so comfortable.
Isn't
I
child-
fall asleep in the
It's soothing, and especially after that intense back bend, it's really nice to balance it.
Yes.
Yes, it
Child
is. Maybe we
pose.
should have stayed there longer, but
No, it
It's a good.
easy.
I like to do back and forth, but what I prefer to do, I mean, it's my opinion. When we do a lot of back bend, like the plow and all that, is
Right.
to warm up by twisting.
Before
And-
you get it.
Because if you do too much of the forward, your spine is difficult to readjust.
To get the
I mean, it's my
realignment.
opinion, because you do back and back and back, and suddenly you do forward. Your spine doesn't have time to.
I remember with Josiane in one of the previous episodes, what you did was after you do the plow, You did a little bit of twist to
Yeah,
ease off the spine.
And the rocking just to massage the spine.
Yes. Yeah.
So what's happening in our spine when we do all these intense back bends? It's actually just collapsing, right?
Well, hopefully not.
Back.
I mean, you are even in back bends and in forward bends. We're intending to create space through the vertebra. The tendency is to collapse as we were talking about gravity being on the moon. You know, everything is pulling us towards the center of the earth.
Right.
Even the vertebra and the spine. So even as we're taking a back bend, say Ustrasana posture that we just came out of,
stretch.
we're continuing to invest in space between the vertebra, preventing any kind of collapse or crunch.
Even the back.
Even the back. Space.
To extend.
And even in the forward bend, space through the vertebra, space through all the joints of the body so that there is no compression.
That's right. I like the way you use the word space. We're creating space inside the body, and that's extending to space in the mind, which is helping clear our thinking. So it's leading to what we're talking about from the body to the mind.
Yes, exactly.
How do you feel? Talisa looks totally rested.
I feel so much better from the other day from the stretching in the back, especially when we went back into when I went back into my ankles a little
Right.
bit and the back bend. I found that to be very much more what I needed for my body to stretch out because I was still like experiencing the stress there, but it's like alleviating itself. So I'm really like, it was an honor.
Yeah, well.
It was really
Thank you.
amazing. Viewers at
Very
home,
nice.
before I forget, I want you to keep watching us. Time Warner 57, RCN 84, Fires 35. And before I forget my manners, for the last 3 days, Jabari and Zori. Thank you so much. Jabari Osaze is our director for this show, especially, in fact, in most of the episodes, he's been our director for a long time. Thank you, Jabari. And Roberto Espinel for the wonderful studio lights. I forgot to thank you in the last 2 episodes, but thank you so much. I did remember now. On behalf of Josiane, Hurd, Talisa Michela, and our special guest Douglas Stewart, this is Banu Suresh, and you are watching Yoga Express. Stay with us, and Douglas, thank you so much
It's my pleasure.
for leading this group. We loved it the last 3 days. Today and the last 2 days have been amazing. So
Thank
we
you.
hope you'll keep coming back.
Thank you. It'll be my pleasure too.
Yeah.
You know where to contact Douglas Stewart. Google him. DOUGLASS He teaches at Ishta Yoga, so ishtayoga.com and yogaworks.com. I'm sorry, Josiane.
Next time in your class, come back and
cradle.
incorporate that rocking movement.
Whatever
I
you
found
say,
that so
Douglas, you started a
wonderful.
trend here now.
I used to do that a long time ago,
Yeah.
and somehow.